Do DiCaprio and Scorsese have a last-minute Oscar contender on their hands? You're watching Beyond the Trailers review of The Wolf of Wall Street.
With this script, I'm gonna teach each and every one of you to be the best.
This is the greatest company in the world!
I was becoming a legend.
Aren't you married?
Yeah, but married people can't have friends.
We're not gonna be friends.
I was making so much money, I didn't know what to do with it.
$26,000 for one dinner!
Dad, we're not poor anymore.
Tell them about the sides.
What are these sides? They cure cancer?
The sides did cure cancer. That's the problem. They were there. That's why they were expensive.
Pre-Titanic, or hell, even post-Titanic, who'd have ever guessed that Leonardo DiCaprio's name would go before Martin Scorsese's? Yet the former pretty boy has truly remade himself as a genuine movie star, blazing a path that others have tried to follow with mixed results. But to be fair, Scorsese has been a vital component in DiCaprio's success, first giving the actor some much-needed credibility after serious misfire The Beach with Gangs of New York. And despite working with some of the greatest directors of all time, Spielberg, Scott, Mendes, Nolan, Eastwood, and Tarantino, 5 of DiCaprio's 13 films post The Beach have been with Scorsese. And DiCaprio has done right by Scorsese, giving the legendary director the only box office hits of his career. Before DiCaprio, a Scorsese film had never crossed the all-important century mark. DiCaprio has given him 3 $100 million plus films, plus 3 additional Oscar nods for Best Director, with Scorsese winning for The Departed. Meanwhile, their partnership has only scored 1 Oscar nod for DiCaprio, Best Actor for The Aviator, while his other 2 nominations were for What's Eating Gilbert Grape and Blood Diamond. Yes, much like his other big role this year in The Great Gatsby, DiCaprio just can't seem to be accepted into Hollywood's inner elite. In fact, that elite seems to view him more like his Wolf of Wall Street character, a crass hustler who could never hope to be a true movie star, as opposed to, say, George Clooney, who makes films in black and white and never crosses the century mark at the box office unless it's in an Ocean's 11 movie or floating past Sandra Bullock. Perhaps DiCaprio is more like another movie star who always seemed to find himself on the outside looking in, Michael Douglas. Despite being the son of movie star Kirk Douglas, baby Douglas never really made it into Hollywood's inner circle either, despite becoming an audience favorite. And like DiCaprio, Douglas had a strong career behind the camera, winning his first Oscar for producing One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, a film in which he did not appear. Douglas has one other Oscar for his iconic role in Wall Street. Will this similar role for DiCaprio be his own golden bullet? Thanks to a 3-month delay due to problems in the editing room, this 3-hour corporate epic is hitting theaters at the very last minute. As a result, it's been a little light on the accolades, yet remember, DiCaprio and Scorsese have worked Oscar magic before. Get ready to be surprised, because this is an NC-17 movie that just happens to have an R rating. Now, the industry trades are already beginning to investigate how this could have happened, and I think there's some chance The Wolf of Wall Street could be the tipping point that finally begins a discussion as to the effectiveness of the MPAA rating system. Now, I also think coming out on Christmas is not going to help this movie. It's just going to make matters worse. There is a scene where Leonardo DiCaprio has a red candle stuck up his butt, so Merry Christmas. Although he never goes full frontal despite almost every actress in the film doing so. Jonah Hill might go full frontal, but I wasn't sure if that was a prosthetic or not. Now, I realize that this is the lifestyle that Jordan Belfort lived, and that a lot of Wall Street players live. And I watch Game of Thrones. But the reason I think the pervertedness of this film is going to dominate the discussions about it is for 3 reasons. A, everyone's going to be surprised. I think that Paramount did not do themselves any favors by keeping this under wraps. They should have let people know what they're getting into. B, because it's so in your face. Right from the beginning. There are things that are just shocking. You really will be sitting there going like, I can't believe this isn't NC-17. I do expect some people to walk out, particularly because I think people will trust the DiCaprio and Scorsese names and maybe say, oh, I liked Goodfellas. How bad can it be? I like Scarface. I can take it. I'm telling you, NC-17 rating. For C, the final reason, though, is the most unfortunate, and that's because there really isn't anything else there in the film. There's no depth. This isn't a commentary on what Belfort did. It's really just showing you what he did. And also, I felt in that same vein, Wolf of Wall Street had almost an episodic nature to it. It was almost as if you were binge viewing on like an HBO miniseries. which kind of makes sense considering the screenwriter comes from HBO, Terrence Winter. He worked on The Sopranos, but Boardwalk Empire is really his calling card. And I like Boardwalk Empire, though, much more than this. I think that maybe if Terrence Winter had been given an entire season instead of just 3 hours, maybe he could have explored something here. But alas, he doesn't. Now, I think on some level, The Wolf of Wall Street was hoping it would be the modern day Wall Street, version of that famous Oliver Stone, Michael Douglas film. But I think that the difference is that whereas Oliver Stone made a film on the level of The Elegant Criminal that was Gordon Gekko, sadly, Scorsese has made a film on the level of the very crass criminal that Jordan Belfort is or was. And I think while a lot of people aspire to be Gordon Gekko, I would be surprised if anyone, or at least a large number of people, aspire to be Jordan Belfort. They really don't give him really very many redeeming qualities at all, or make you sympathize with him. Or if any, it's just an excuse to join him for a party. Now that said, there were some good moments in the film that I think will be remembered. I think the best moment by far and away was the scene where DiCaprio is trying to drive home from a country club. Well, hi. You'll know it when you see it. It was very well done. And also there were some really good performances, surprisingly, from bit players in the film. Matthew McConaughey really nailed his scene. He's only really in one scene. But a very good scene. And then also, Kyle Chandler surprised me here. He was very good in his role. He had a lot more going on in that scene where he's talking to DiCaprio than almost the rest of the entire film. And I really kudos to him for doing so much with so little. I also thought it was interesting that, I don't know if this was intentional or not, but when DiCaprio has his hair dyed black, he looks incredibly like Kyle Chandler. It was almost like two versions of the same guy sitting there, which might have been the point, but again, not really made well enough. So nobody could be more disappointed in this film than I. The trailer was phenomenal, one of the best trailers ever made. I wish that the movie had matched it, had been what the trailer promised. But again, the guy who does the Girls Gone Wild videos, if he decided to make a movie, this would be it. I mean, really, seriously, this would have been my Christmas Day choice, and I'm so glad that I saw it early because I would have just ended up with a cold dildo in my stocking. So that's my review of The Wolf of Wall Street. What do you think? Are you as surprised? If you've seen it, are you as surprised as I am by the graphic nature of the sexuality in the film? Do you think it was necessary? And do you think there was more to it? Write down your thoughts. Thank you for tuning in. And I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news. I know so many people were looking forward to this film, as I said, myself included. But maybe some people will disagree with me. Maybe some people will still like it. And if you do really enjoy the film, what do you think that I missed about it? So write your thoughts down below. Thank you for tuning in. You can check out some more episodes right now.